شفت ياما ناس منى هتعيش العمر جنبك وبرضه ما يكفيش أحلى دنيا عندي ما تساويش.
الحمد لله الذي
As precious as children are to parents, they could also be causes of agony in this life and in the hereafter if they are not properly trained. Giving a Muslim child only Western education is like building a one-footed player who sits on reserve bench for long. Qiblah Schools Ibadan is capable of giving your child a sound Western and Islamic education with emphasis on art-based, science and technology courses. Even vocational training like sewing, soap making, tie and dye are not left out. With a well-stocked library and computer room, our students are ever prepared for all external examinations. Come rain, come shine. Buses are available for their movement as well as modern sporting facilities. Yet the teaching of Quran and Sunnah to Rasulullah is never compromised. See our seasoned tutors as they impact knowledge in these children with the fear of Allah. The excellent performance of our students at all external examinations and competitions is a testimony of our diligence and the favor of Allah on us. Qiblah Primary School and Qiblah High School are located side by side at plots 2 to 5 Ibadan Southwest Multipurpose Scheme near Aleshiloye Market, Ibadan. Telephone 0805-272-5253 or 0803-313-2027. Qiblah Schools, we set the pace.
إن الحمد لله نعمده ونشكره ونستعينه ونعوذ به من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله ثم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. All praise and adoration is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the universe. We thank Him, we adore Him, we testify to His oneness, that He has no associate, has no partner. We also testify to the messengership and prophethood of Holy Prophet Muhammad. May the peace and blessing of Allah be upon His noble soul, His household, His companions, and the majority of Muslims till the day of accountability. You are welcome to your favorite program, Message from Qiblah, sponsored by Qiblah Schools, Aleshiloye, Ibadan. Today, inshallah, we shall continue on our fatal lesson, that is evils of the tongue. Yesterday, we identified a number of activities, a number of evils, a number of sins committed by our tongue. And we said, Al-Kalam la ya'ni, that is vain talk, as of no benefit. Muslims are not expected to be wasting their precious time on vain talk. Then Asabu, that is cursing others or insulting others. And we told us we have among insults rendered upon another person that is tantamount to kufru, that is disbelief. We have what is tantamount to a great sin. We have what is tantamount to a big sin. We have what is tantamount to a minor sin. All these were explained yesterday. And we equally made mention of as-sukhriya wal-istihza, that is molesting others. Allah warned us against molestation, that is molesting one another or a group molesting another group, because we may not know if the group being molested by us is better than us in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we be in trouble by molesting them. And that is why we have to be very careful in the way and manner we use our tongue. And we ended up yesterday by telling us about a shahsi, that is spreading secret of another person. What is called secret should be secret, irrespective of the circumstance. Nothing should warrant you divulging the secret you are aware of about another person. If anybody has come to you and keep a secret with you, let's assume now over time there is a rancor between you and the person, and that does not mean you should divulge that secret of him that you have. Divulging the secret of another person that you have, then that is tantamount to a sin in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's one of the ways through which our tongue can put us into trouble in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then today we want to add to some of these evils of the tongue, so that every one of us will be able to identify some of the things that we have been accustomed with, and will be able to do away with them, particularly in the use of our tongue in a negative direction. Another one I would like to add is al-wa'dul kadhbi, that is fake promises, to make promises that will not be fulfilled. When we are making promises, we know that these promises I will fulfill it. The one that will not fulfill, we know that this promise is not possible for me to fulfill. Then why are you now making what you cannot fulfill? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Quran that it's a big sin. It's a big sin for you to say what you cannot do. So how can you make a promise that you cannot fulfill? Because making a promise is going to make another person settled for what you have promised him. If you have promised somebody your time that you come to his place, or you see him, you have promised somebody your word that you are going to give him certain amount of money, you have given somebody an appointment, and you have ascertained that you'll be there, and of course you know that you are not going to meet up with the time given or the schedule given. So it's also an evil of the tongue, and that is why anytime we are making promises, we must ensure that that promise we are about to make is something that we have the capacity and wherewithal to fulfill. We don't just make promises on a fake ground, a promises that we cannot fulfill, or that we know that can never come to a reality. In fact, it's one of the signs of hypocrisy. Because the Prophet ﷺ was reported to have said that ayatul munafiqu thalatha, that there are 3 signs of hypocrisy. And he said, إِذَا حَدَثَ كَذَبَ, that if he talks, he tells lies. So whoever talks and he tells lies, then he has a character, he has a quality of hypocrisy in him. وَإِذَا وَعَدَ أَخْلَفَ, if he makes promises, he doesn't fulfill it, he does otherwise. And that's the second sign the Prophet ﷺ mentioned to us. And he said, وَإِذَا أَتُمِنَ قَانَ, that if he is entrusted with somebody, he disappointed. So somebody who disappoints at any point in time is being entrusted with something, then that person is having an atom of hypocrisy. And let's look at these 3 attributes that the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned to be signs of hypocrisy. The first one, falsehood, telling lies. That whoever has made falsehood his character, he has addicted to falsehood, there's no time he talks except he tells lies, then that is an attribute of hypocrisy. And why is awad akhlafa? If you make promises, it doesn't fulfill it. So why are you now making promises that you will not fulfill? Then it means you are having element of hypocrisy in you. And the last one, that is trust. So anybody who is not trustworthy, and that person is also having an attribute of hypocrisy. And if care is not taken, that person will be hypocrite in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His name will be removed from the fold of Muslims and be enrolled among hypocrites. And you know the consequence of being an hypocrite. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ وَلَن تَجِدَ لَهُمْ نَصِيرًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed, the hypocrites will be at the bottom of hellfire, and there won't be any helper to separate them from that tormentous punishment. So this is telling us that anything that is linked to hypocrisy, we should do away with it. So falsehood is linked to hypocrisy, fake promises is linked to hypocrisy, and lack of trust is also linked to hypocrisy. So we shouldn't exhibit all these 3 attributes, or else we become hypocrite in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah grant us protection. So this is telling us that al-wa'd al-kadhbi, to make false promises, is also an evil of the tongue, which we have to shun at all cost. And at the same time, al-ghiba, and that is backbiting. Backbiting is a terrible sin in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is to be talking about your brother in such a manner that when he hears of what you have said, he won't be pleased with you, he won't be happy at all. And that's how the scholars, they have defined al-ghiba. They said, to be mentioning your brother with what he dislikes, to be talking about your brother with what he dislikes, that will not be happy to hear that you have said so and so about him behind him. And the companions, they ask, if what you have said can be found in your brother, then that is backbiting, that is ghiba. And فَإِن لَمْ يَكُنْ فِيهِ فَهُوَ بَهْتَانٌ. Then if what you have said could not be found in him, then that is slandering. You are destroying his character. That is deformation of character, and which is a great sin in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is why we just have to be careful in the way and manner we use our tongue. We shouldn't be deceived by our eloquence, so that I'm an orator, there's nothing I cannot say. You have to identify what we say, and at the same time identify what you must not say. Otherwise, your tongue will lead you to perdition, will lead you to doom in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the last one I would like to add is an-namima, and that is gossiping. And namima, what is always behind gossip is to destroy relationship, is to create enmity, is to establish hatred between two people that love each other. So when you are gossiping, in the sense that you are spreading information that can cause rancor among people or between two people, that can separate them, that can make them hate each other, then that is gossip. So what is of no use, you must not be conveying it among people. You must not be disseminating information that you know that can bring about separation, that can bring about discord among people. So if you are a type that you spread information that can break brotherhood or that can create enmity among people, then you are gossiping. And the implication of that is that paradise may be made forbidden for you. Sincerely. Because the Prophet ﷺ was reported to have said, La yadkhulul jannah an-nama, that a gossiper will not enter paradise because of the gravity of the sin committed by him, because of the gravity of gossip in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why sermonizing myself, and I'm also sermonizing every listener, that our tongue is a delicate flesh. We shouldn't use it anyway, anyhow, because using it anyway, anyhow may end one the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why we have to identify some of these evils and guide our tongue against them. To them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, guide our tongue, may guide us aright, and grant us the strength to abstain from illicit talk, illicit utterances that can make us end the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us better understanding of this message than we have been brought to our hearing. بِحَقِّ لَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ أَقُولُ مَا تَسْمَعُونَ أَسْتَغْفِرُ لِي وَلَكُمْ سُبْحَانَكَ اللَّهُمَّ وَبِحَمْدِكَ أَشْهَدُ أَن لَّا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنتَ أَسْتَغْفِرُكَ وَأَتُوبُ إِلَيْكَ وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَةُ اللَّهِ وَبَرَكَاتُهُ.
Tí n bá kàwé mi, bàtà mi á dún kó. ká.
tá a bá kàwé tá a fi tọlọ́run síwájú ní bàtà kókó kàífi rọ́ni lọ́rùn ẹsẹ̀ káfọmọlẹ́kọ̀ọ́ àlùkùránì àtẹ̀kọ́ ìwé tó yanrantí lọ́mọ fi lè ṣàṣeyọrí láyé tí ó sì tún jèrè ní àlẹ́ àhírà bá a kúkú fẹgbẹ̀rún pàǹṣàgùnmu àtìlẹ́yìn ẹ̀kọ́ gbóná ni tó bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ kí n júwe Qiblah schools Ìbàdàn fún yín ilé ìwé akéwù kàwé ṣe súnà tó ṣàrọ̀ ọ̀tọ̀ Qiblah primary school láti ń fohùn èlò ẹ̀kọ́ òde òní kọ́mọ ohun ìṣeré lóríṣiríṣi tí mọ̀mọdé jẹ̀rẹ̀ ilé ìwé lójoojúmọ́ àtàwọn olùkọ́ bí òbí lọ́lọ́run á la fi jíǹkí wa tí ti Qiblah high school yìí gan tún wọ ìyàmì ẹ̀kọ́ ìmọ̀ sáyẹ́ǹsì ìmọ̀ ẹ̀rọ tẹkinọ́lọ́jì tó ń ti ṣe ọwọ́ vocational studies lọ́bí ń káwọn ọmọ wa bí wọ́n ṣe ń kéwù ni wọ́n ń kàwé kódà a tún kọ́ wọn lẹ́sìn ní tìlànà Allah wa rasulihi ọkọ̀ ń bẹ ní sẹpẹ́tà fi ń káwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ àyíká wa àrímọ̀ lè lọ ni àṣeyọrí àwọn ọmọ wa níbi èsì ìdánwò àṣejáde gbogbo ó ń lẹ̀rí máa jẹ́ mi sọ ìtẹ́pámọ́ṣẹ́ àtàánú ọlọ́run àálà lórí wa Qiblah schools wà ní plot 2, 3, 4 and 5 Ìbàdàn South West multipurpose scheme nítòsí ọjà Alẹ́ṣinlọ́yẹ̀ Ìbàdàn tẹlifóònù 0805-272-5253 àti 0803-313-2027 Qiblah schools ìwájú lójúgùn gbé.
بجهالة ثم تاب من بعد